You know, yeah, it's just fucked.
Just raw.
Just raw as
Raw,
hell.
no cut.
There you go. What's going on, good damn people?
Hey. We at you again.
Friends,
I think what
how many?
are we getting into a pattern of like every other week? We
I
wait
mean,
for a week or
just depends. It just really depends. Like, if it's some good shit that jump off, then yeah, we'll probably be like, you know what? No, tomorrow, nigga, tomorrow. But who knows?
This
Who
is
knows?
true.
Yeah, 2020 is full of good shit popping off. I mean, not good shit, but
Yeah,
newsworthy shit.
right. It was just some shit's popping off, but not necessarily in the good variety, I guess. Who knows?
It's almost apocalyptic, but who's counting?
Not quite, but almost. But shit,
Almost.
what's good with you, gentlemen?
Oh man, just got done eating this good ass meal a nigga made.
What's your fat ass made?
Supple Simon.
Oh no, I dropped some leg quarters in the fryer.
Ah.
And I injected them too before I put them in there.
This
Yeah.
fucking guy. What this fucking guy? What you inject him with? What you inject him with, huh?
Just just the ones you kind of use for turkeys and stuff during if you deep fry them.
Oh, okay, got you. Yeah.
Nothing crazy, but I was just
mean,
trying
shit.
something out.
Yeah, I hear
I'm
you.
trying something out.
I hear you. Jamal, are you making anything, Jamal?
Making it? Well, my wife just made a what do you call that shit? Pho. You know that?
Yeah.
So that was good.
Chinese Yakamine.
Yeah, we
Or
do.
Vietnamese Yakamine.
We do a lot of Asian in this house,
Shit, that's the best type of meals to have. Like, have you ever had like a bad Asian dish? Like, I mean, sorry,
I've had Asian dishes that were supposed to be Asian, but were really like some American bullshit that were bad, but not actual Asian food. No.
Right. I mean, shit, that's how that goes sometimes. Fuck it. Shoot, I haven't had bad Asian food. I haven't had bad Middle Eastern food. Like, all the shit I've tasted has always been great. It may smell different, but
that
still
comes with it.
Right, which is fine. It is what it is at that point.
Dude, Asians will show your ass how to cook some fucking vegetables. That's
real
what they know how to do.
Real quick.
They know how to do.
And that shit be delicious.
You won't be thinking, oh, there ain't no meat in here. You'll be like,
right.
What is this?
Anywho, but episode 146, of course.
146.
Of course, we still pressing the gas, baby. Black people around the world are slowly but surely winning as much as possible. I think our voices are being heard a lot better than what they were 6 weeks ago.
Are they?
I mean, it's they're being heard.
They're being heard. I mean, for now.
When you had to put that, it's still
because I had an interesting conversation with my dad on Sunday, Father's Day, and he was telling me, man, he told me an interesting story. I realized, I was like, damn, he tells just as good stories as I do. And so
you're wondering where you get it from or something?
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is where. So he was telling me about when he was a kid, like 11, 12, type thing. And he was like, well, when he was a kid, they used to play football in the street, right? And so they play football. And he was like, there was these cops that would come around all the time, and they would take their football, right? Just being dicks and being like, oh, y'all shouldn't be playing in the street. Take the football, and they wouldn't see the football again, right? And so he was saying, that basically they were taking his football. He always thought in his mind they're probably giving that football, like, because they're grown men, like they ain't got no reason to have a football, like not like they're gonna go outside and play or something. So he was like they probably taking that football from us and then taking it back to their neighborhood or wherever, and they see some kids and give them the football, right? So
no.
So that's what that but that was always a thought in his mind, right? Because obviously these are white cops, right? So he's thinking they're taking our football and they're probably giving it to the white kids in their neighborhood, right? Because they ain't got no use for the football, or they give it to their own kids, right?
Frisco.
And so my dad was my dad was a attorney for 30 years in New Orleans, right? So, and he was telling me the story. He was like, fast forward to when he was an adult, and he got offered a job to be an assistant district attorney, right? And everybody was telling him, like, by everybody, he meant like, people in the community, black people, right? Other black lawyers. They were saying, oh, you should take it because you could, help from the inside, right? And he said that he couldn't take it because he never trusted the cops. Like, not only that whole football thing, that was just like a little kid thing, but even as he was getting older, he was like, the cops used to always harass him. So he was like, he couldn't, and he knew the cops lied, right, about everything. And so he was like, he couldn't work with them because he didn't really trust them, right? And being a district attorney, you're basically on their, on their team, right? And so, but the point he was making was that they had this negative experience with cops growing up, being harassed, and them taking their football for no reason and all that kind of stuff. But he was saying he thought of it on the other side. He was like, well, if they were taking that football and then giving it to other kids, giving it to kids in their neighborhood when they were on their way home or their own kids, he was like, those kids would probably look at the cops as good guys. They would be like, oh man, they're nice, man. They just gave us a football. Like, they're always doing nice stuff for us, all this kind of stuff. Whereas
it is a perspective like a motherfucker.
Yeah. But yet on the other side of town, every time they saw the cops, they would run because they knew they was going to take their shit. Right. So, and so the point of the story was basically that, there's a reason why white people have a certain image of not only police, but authority in general. Right. It's not to say every single white person has had good experiences with quote unquote authority. Right. But it is to say that they are more likely to not necessarily believe some of the negative things that we know will happen because that's not their experience, right? That's our experience, and they can't, they look at it as, oh, this is one bad apple. We look like they're all bad apples, you know what I'm saying? Like, or by all I mean the entire system,
right?
And let me just finish.
Go ahead.
So that was the kind of perspective he gave of why they probably view a lot of things differently from us. But then also his point was that white people have never fought. It's never been a priority for these different, rights and things for black people, right? So you think about all the lawsuits that were filed, all the cases that were brought to the Supreme Court, all the campaigning for different, civil rights bills, Voting Rights Act, all that kind of stuff was all done by black people, all of it. Like, there's no white people who were filing any of those cases. There's no white people who were doing any of that stuff. So his point was like, there's never been a point in time where white people, because when you're in the minority, by definition, you're probably not going to get your way or, get your objective unless the majority, at least you can get some of the majority to come along with you, right? Right. So if it's not a majority, if it's not a majority priority, I hate to be like Jesse Jackson.
That rhyme, that big rhyme. That you just getting your preach on right there. All you had to do is hit him with the
hang low. If it's not a majority priority,
sweet cherry.
If it's not a majority priority, it's probably not going to happen, right? Because white people never go to the polls thinking about civil rights for black people or any type of reform in that way. They'll go and vote on economic terms or whatever other issues are important to them, but never on black issues. And his opinion was that they never will, that there's not going to be a time where white people all of a sudden start standing, because if they wanted it,
not the person overnight. In general. Yeah, not like just the person individually, but I think over time, and again, it's a long way to go. But I do think over time, we are, this is the beginning stages of something that's a tad bit different. Now, like I said, how far it goes at this point, no one really knows. But I do think that we are at the cusp of, something different happening that hasn't happened before, right? Do I know what that is specifically? No, but I do think that we're right there. Yeah, but I do think we're right there. And side note, Jamal, you have all these stories about you and your family. Do you guys ever talk about like gangster shit, or do y'all just talk about scholar shit all day?
Why would we talk about gangster shit when we're scholars?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just y'all always got the. I want to just come have a sit down with y'all, and I'm just gonna sit back and take notes because I swear I'm gonna be the dumbest nigga.
I'm listening to one of me and my mom conversations. You'll really hear some shit.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I do want to hear this. If your dad is, turning down jobs for district attorney and shit, I want to come in and sit in this room and just listen to the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. You turning down a DA job? You just
assistant DA. But, yeah.
Okay, now we're splitting hairs.
So we're talking about semantics right now?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Oh, my bad. His office is what, 2 square feet smaller? The fuck? His parking spot is on the 3rd level and not the 2nd. Oh, okay. Oops. Nevertheless, but like I said, I do think it's a little different because even at this, I'm not gonna take it all the way, but I'll still take fake outrage, right? Because that fake outrage can still somebody may hear fake outrage from someone who normally, like a white person that would normally, give a fuck about the shit, but then all of a sudden they start to care about it. So I think the fake outrage can still help somebody. At the same time, I'm glad to see more people.
I don't think it's fake at this point. I think I think the rage is actually real. I don't think they knew that. To me, what started happening was when they started busting into these, high dollar in ass places and started looting and like seeing people starting to see like real dollars might be affected. That's when I think it started being real because and then people calling out the bullshit where they were planting fucking bricks on the side of the road and shit. Right. Or people, so stuff starting to be like, oh, now this shit's not always just being the same where you just see niggas looting and you can just say, look, they don't care, they're just criminals. And now when motherfuckers is actually calling that shit out, then you gotta kind of, this is a little different.
True.
I don't know. Like, I mean, I get all that, but until it becomes a political priority, I don't think you're going to see anything happen, right? So now, look, if we, because the only time Black people ever made progress in this country was when we actually had economic power, right? So you're talking about the period of Reconstruction, right after the Civil War, right, where you had just people don't even realize how rich we were, and we were actually becoming richer per capita than white people at the time, which is why they had to destroy us and why they had to bring on the Jim Crow laws, and they tore it all down, and it's all gone. And now, now we own less than we did then. We own less businesses than we owned in the 30s.
Right.
So,
and and just saying that out loud, that shit sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, everybody knows about Black Wall Street, but Black Wall Street wasn't the only Black Wall Street.
Yeah, that was just.
So, like in New Orleans, right? There's a street called Claiborne. It intersects with Canal Street, which most people have heard of. But Claiborne was an affluent Black street where it had lots of Black businesses and lots of, it was an affluent Black neighborhood. And they built an interstate over it. That's where I-10 is now. So that was our Black Wall Street that they destroyed, right? So everywhere where there was Black wealth that rose up, they squashed it. Now that tells you something, right? They did that here in Texas too. I was reading that about 35 and 45 where the intersection, where the overpass and stuff, all that stuff is the Mixmaster. They knocked down a whole Black neighborhood to do that.
Right.
So. But that tells you something, though, right? Just if you're doing that, that tells you that the economic power is really what interests them, right? Is really what gets their attention. If you don't have that, it doesn't really matter anything else. So, if we could stick together and flex our muscle economically, which seems like we're trying to do, but we're going to have to we're gonna have to make it.
Yeah, it has to be much deeper than just trying shit like that. However, that does transition into a pretty to like the first thing we got to talk about overall, because former founder of well, he is a founder, but he sold it off, whatever. But ex-founder of BET, Robert Johnson, or Bob for short. He came up with this article, and I'm just kind of going off of the headline of it. But basically, he was saying that, hey, Black Lives Matters, maybe look at maybe forming their own political party, which, to me, it kind of makes sense. Like I get exactly what he's saying when he's talking about it. He's basically saying, okay, you're going to have to do more than just, and protesting is good. It has its place, but you're going to have to do more, kind of going back to what you were saying economically, than just sit back and talk about it. Like you do have to put people in the position to be able to make actual change. So again, that was something big for him, even though, I thought he sold his soul a while ago, but that's the other story for a different day. But what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I did see that, and Bob Johnson, he was kind of, I've been critical of him for the same reason that you.
Yeah.
Because it was so valuable for us to have our own TV network.
Right.
And back when BET used to actually be about something, and they used to have real news and all that kind of stuff, that was incredibly valuable. And
BET Uncut.
And I know he got a big check from Veracom for it. So, it's business, whatever. But at the same time, that thing had more value than whatever they paid him to the overall community.
Right. It meant something. And to be honest with you, I don't think I've purposely cut it on BET in 10, 12 years.
No.
Honestly.
Only time I watch BET is to watch some Martin reruns.
Catch them shits on VH1, same company, but still.
So,
that's what I'm saying. That's a flip side of the coin.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, even the BET Awards, like, I don't watch them, but if somebody says it was good, I'll go on YouTube and pull up the performances. But I'm not.
Right. Yeah, I'm not watching.
That's the only thing you're watching for anyway. At this point, if you see somebody that you like, or you're a fan of, you're just watching to see how their performance is. You're not watching for the content of the fucking show. That shit has been trash.
Yeah.
Right.
But to the point of what he was talking about today, I thought it was a very, very good point. It really was, and I was surprised that it was coming out of Bob Johnson's mouth. I don't know. He must be getting close to the end because he's saying all kinds of black shit right now that he never said.
He done tested positive for COVID, my nigga.
He might have. But and it's funny because I brought it up to some other people, white people obviously, and nobody is that hot on the idea. Everybody's like, because everybody feels like you can't build your own thing, that you have to work within the system that's there and try to. But you're never going to take, it's theirs. You're not going to take over their system. They're just not going to let it happen. So I don't think that's viable. And, the Democrats don't care about us, and neither do the Republicans. So, but together,
and there's
enough of us in a political block that you could swing elections,
But that, and what you saying that's the thing, like, that's a stigma with black people that I feel like I even grew up on. My mom was, she wasn't from here. My mom was from Kenya. But when she came here, it's like, oh, well, black people vote Democrat. That's basically what you do. Regardless of, what policy or whatever, you vote Democrat. And that's been like a sticking point to me, because it's like, because, I might not agree with everybody that's, running on that side. I'm not just going to give them my vote. That shit is
just blindly give them my vote.
Yeah, just blindly give them my vote. And it's like, you go back and look at stuff. You look at legislation and shit like that. That Democrats don't be looking out for, like Jamal just said. Democrats don't be looking out for us. They gonna do what makes their party, and what I mean them white folks in their shit, lace their pockets and make some niggas stronger. That's basically all they can do. They're not gonna do what actually looks out for a minority group. And that's why I was like, I always looked at that shit like that shit was strange. Like, oh man, with black folk, when in doubt, just put your ticket all Democrat. Like, no, nigga, I don't know these niggas. I'm not gonna give my vote to somebody I don't know. And this motherfucker, this nigga vote some DA or like say assistant DA in. And when I get pulled over, they'll jam me up on some bullshit and some trumped up charges. And I'm the one that voted this motherfucker in. Like, what sense does that make?
Shout out to Kamala Harris.
I mean, the thing is, you know, you have the Republicans who are openly hostile to black people, and then you have, and I'm talking about, when I say Republicans, I'm talking about the real Republic, not you motherfuckers sitting at home. Fuck off. I'm talking about the people who control the Republican Party.
The Mitt Romneys.
Yeah. So to them, they're openly hostile to us, and then on the Democratic side, we're just irrelevant to them, right? Right. And they'll pander to us, you know, when it's time for an election or whatever, but they know we don't have nowhere to go. So why would they? It's almost like if you owned a shoe store and there's no other shoe stores, not just in your town, but in your state, right? And so it's like, you think your customer service is going to be as good as if there was a shoe store right next door, right? It's just not, right? Because you don't even have to, if there's a shoe store next door, you got to somehow differentiate yourself, right? You got to say, oh, well, we treat you better. We'll, give you a refund. What, just something that they don't do. But if you're the only store in town, well, you get what you get. Like, where you want to go, right? That's why the DMV is always fucked up. Like, there is no other DMV. You have no alternative to where you can go get a driver's license. So, the service is just going to be what it is, and you just got to take that. So, that's the Democrats' attitude towards us, which is more of a reason to form your own party, right? Because if you take, Democrats will never win an election again if they don't have a black vote. Zero. Yeah. Ever.
Ever.
Especially nationally.
That's a fact.
It's a fact, right? I mean, so we're not a majority of their electorate, but we're one of the big chunks of it. We're like 25-30% of their votes. They can't win without that. They barely win with it. They can barely scratch by with it. So without us, they can't do anything, right? So only by pulling back your support for them are you going to get them to move in your direction and pay attention to what you're actually saying. But until then, they have no reason to act on anything we say.
What's the alternative? What's the
alternative? To form our own party, because we're the only people who are going to care about our issues. That's the fucking fact.
Right.
We're the only ones, because it goes back to what I originally said. It's not a political priority for them.
Right.
Like, a lot of Democrats, they're not necessarily racist, but and some of them just aren't racist. Obviously, they're not necessarily racist, but black issues are not going to be top of the mind for them. It's just not.
Right.
It's not their experience. It's not what they have to deal with. It's not important to them because they don't have to deal with these issues.
I started watching something last night. It's I think the documentary or some type, on Robert Kennedy, right? And it's on Netflix. It's actually pretty good. I didn't finish all of it because I was high anyways. But nevertheless, like, I started watching a little bit of it, and like they were talking, everybody knows, the Kennedys, and they fought for civil rights and things like that. And
they were bootleggers.
Stop that.
And I was gonna say, in their own way, right?
No, not in their own way.
Well, here's the deal. That's what I didn't know ahead of time, right? So when I'm watching it, they did not. Like John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, they hated the idea of civil rights. I didn't know. Robert Kennedy was part of the FBI when they were tapping Martin Luther King, catching him fucking and doing all that other shit. But like it was kind of. It was kind of eye-opening to see that, because again, a lot of times, you get, it's kind of the whole Abraham Lincoln thing, right? Where, Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, blah, 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 blah. Abraham Lincoln was still a piece of shit, right? He did it for economic reasons. He still didn't like black folks and all this other shit. So, I kind of, when I was watching it, I was just like, you know what, this is some bullshit. Like, they parade these people around and they go, okay, they had Harry Belafonte on there. Oh, well, he was doing all that shit. But again, it's just still eye-opening because like you said, it's not their experience, and politically it doesn't make sense for them to do that shit, right? Because all they got to do, go play the saxophone on fucking BET, shout out to Bill Clinton, and they're gonna get niggas to jump. That's just the reality of it, right? Go give Obama some dap, all this shit, do all this shit, and that's gonna get niggas to jump. Or hand out whatever they need to hand out in order to get niggas to go, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna vote for this person because it's this, it's that, they was on a T.I. song last week. The fuck that got to do with anything? You know what I'm saying?
Dude, they don't respect us, man. It's so obvious. Like people don't pay attention to stuff, man. But it's so obvious. Like when they had Juvenile, they had this. He didn't even win, but there was this guy in the presidential primary had Juvenile come to Iowa to do and first of all, Iowa, like maybe if he was in South Carolina, maybe it was South Carolina. That makes
I don't know. It was
But regardless, it's like you think it's that easy. Like you really think it's that easy just to pull, you know what I'm saying? And it's just so frustrating, man. It's so frustrating.
Yes. Do a photo op. Just go up there. Puff Daddy do a photo op with somebody. It's a wrap, dog. You know what I'm saying? It's a wrap. So that's just how that shit goes. And I hate to kind of say it this way. Well, kind of, sort of, not really, but like by Black Lives Matter, whatever the fuck they want to call it, by them opening up or starting their own political party, yes, our first priority will be Black priorities because it's been pushed to the back so fucking far, motherfucker. It's been pushed to the back so far, like people won't understand what the hell is really going on. Like it's like, oh well, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do this for you guys. You're not gonna do shit. Bill Clinton.
Everybody always co-ops whatever the Black problem is. Everybody always co-ops it and twists it and makes it their own. And then that's the thing. That's how I look. This is how I look at with some of that shit, even with the Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. Yeah, I actually think that's a great idea to try to start your own party and stuff like that. Because, like I said, everybody's shit is always tied back to like civil rights shit. Like whenever if a minority wins something, they always tie it back to that. So it's always tied back to the original thing. But it's never the original thing is never pushed. It's whatever group gets it and runs with it and is the loudest with it, they'll get their shit passed. But the original idea of, like we're saying with Black Lives Matter, all we want our lives to do is matter. Not it matters more than somebody. It just matters. Like, goddamn, how much more do you think we can take with this bullshit?
Right. Yeah. And black issues, they're the great thing to talk about, but something to not do anything about, right? It's like, oh, I don't want to touch that. I don't want to offend the wrong people because this is a black person's issue, right? That's always the key thing.
See, but that's where it's actually not a black issue. This is just human rights issue.
No. I'm saying like black people's issue is something that's great to talk about. It's something great to put up a flag. It's something great to do this. But when it actually comes to action on the shit, nothing happens. Like ever.
Yeah, and like it's the only way you're gonna. It's the only option you have because like we already talked about the Democrats and why they don't care to move on anything for us. So. And for us, is actually like people always talk about how hard it is to start a third party or some other kind of political party, and they're right, because the Republicans and Democrats have, they try to lock everybody else out. But for us, it actually would be easier, right? Because it's harder if we're just trying to get people who agree, right? If you're just trying to get people from general population to join the Green Party or the Tea Party or whatever bullshit party you started, right? That's harder, right? But a party surrounded by racial identity, basically, is much easier to bring people on board with, and you're going to be speaking to issues that actually matter to them, right?
Right.
Now, us like things like getting rid of the black people doing better will make the entire country better, right?
This is true.
And so things like the number one thing I talk about, I don't care anything about them talking about, about trying to do something about police brutality and no chokeholds and no this and no that. No, you have got to cut it off at the head, right? They stop everybody for too much shit. You have to get rid of the war on drugs. We understand now why it was started. Anybody who doesn't just ain't paying attention.
Right.
That's just what it is. Like you just don't pay attention or you're illiterate.
It's easy. it's easy, but it's easy for people to not pay attention because that's what we're really good at. We're really good at doing that in America.
Yeah, all you got to do is watch the news. They'll tell you exactly what you're supposed to.
But you get rid of that, you're going to lower crime. You're going to lower prison population. You're going to have better outcomes in your community, and it's going to benefit everybody. Nobody benefits from having a shit, a part of your population being in shitty conditions, right? And
right.
By shitty conditions, I'm talking about human rights conditions, which leads to other conditions like poverty and all the rest.
Right. So, and we've talked about it before. You got people in poverty. You got people struggling. They're gonna do some struggling people shit. Period.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it benefits everybody, and I hope it catches on. I really do, because.
Would you join the party?
Absolutely. I'd be like one of the first 10 members. Because and here's the second reason why it would be effective.
Okay.
Because we don't have to really do anything. All we have to do is not give our vote to you. That's it. That's it. That will wake the fucking Democrats up right there. If we just said, you know what, this November, let them have it. Whatever happens, we're gonna catch hell one way or the other.
Yeah.
Trump stays in, catching hell. Biden gets in, catching hell, but he'll be more polite about it.
Right.
Either way, we catching hell. You're not changing anything.
I did give you my Apple cord, didn't I?
So that's what you have to do. Like in any negotiation, you have to be willing to walk away if you really want to get what you want to get. Shout out to Dak Prescott, right?
Right.
If you're not willing to walk away, then they're not going to be willing to move because they know you're not going to walk away.
Right.
If we're willing to walk away and take that L politically, then you get their attention, because the Democrats will realize exactly what we just talked about. They can't win without us.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
Anything they can't.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, because they just like what Joe, when Joe said that dumbass fucking statement, like that's how. And he was like, I shouldn't have been so cavalier about it. I was like, no, motherfucker, that's how you really feel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't try to backpedal now.
Yeah, if you're not black if you don't vote for me.
If you what the fuck you mean, nigga?
Yeah, he lost my respect right then.
He been had lost my respect.
Well, the groping is one thing. They're always smiling when he does it. Anyways, but yeah, so Gary Chambers, this was at a Baton Rouge. That's why you call him BR, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna play the audio clip. We can't play the videos because StreamYard don't play videos.
Well, let's set it up then. If we gotta.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. You go ahead and set it up. You let me know when to press play.
So Gary Chambers is just a regular citizen in Baton Rouge. Although I've learned that he's very active, politically.
He's always been like that. Yeah.
So basically, he goes to a city council meeting, and they're talking about these issues, right? That we're talking about, basically the police brutality and just Black people just generally catching hell, and what they can actually do about it, right?
Right.
So he's sitting there in the audience, and there is one of the city council people, a woman named Connie, I forget her last name, white lady, is shopping in the middle of
online shopping
in the middle of this conversation. So Gary goes up and calls her out, and then he moves on and calls everybody else out at the same time. So catch the clip. It's on YouTube. You can find it on social media somewhere. Mm-hmm. Just search Gary Chambers. Yeah, it's beautiful to see.
They're actually about to hear it, but it's always funny just to kind of see the actions of the people, or see how he pointing his finger and shit. Here we go.
I had intended to get up here and talk about how racist Robert E. Lee was, but I'm gonna talk about you, Connie, sitting over there shopping while we talking about Robert E. Lee. This is a picture of you shopping while we talking about racism and history in this country. Only white members of this board got up while we were up here talking too, because you don't give a damn, and it's clear. But I'm gonna tell you what the slaves, my ancestors, said about Robert E. Lee, since you don't know history, sister. Let me tell you that they said when he got the plantation, after he got off the field where 27,000 people died at Gettysburg, Connie, Robert E. Lee was a brutal slave master. Not only did when he whooped the slaves, he said, lay it on them hard. After he said, lay it on them hard, he said, put brine on them so it'll burn them. That's what Robert E. Lee did. And you set your arrogant self in here and sit on there shopping while the pain and the hurt of the people of this community is on display, because you don't give a damn and you should resign. You should have resigned 2 years ago when you choked a white man in his house. You should have resigned 2 weeks ago when you got on TV and said foolishness. And you should walk out of here and resign and never come back, because you are the example of racism in this community. You are horrible.
And she's getting up and walking the fuck out right now.
You have an obligation to the people of this community. And 81% of them are black. And do you need a Klan rally outside, Mr. Goday, before you end it? Because holding it up means that you put that building in jeopardy. You do, sir. Because all over the country, they burning stuff down. And black folks in this city have stood with protesters. I ain't seen you elected officials out there with them, making sure that nothing goes south in Baton Rouge. It's been folks in this community who give a damn, not just when it's comfortable, but every time. And 4 years ago, we came down here. Mr. Drake, they say you're a good man. Be a good man. Black folks say you're a good man. White folks say you're a good man. Your legacy is attached to tonight, brother. Your legacy.
Brother?
Let me say to the black members of the board, it's the most solidarity I've seen out of y'all in forever. Let's keep it at. Let's stand on this moving forward. Because we don't need to apologize for Connie, Evelyn. She showed you who she was when she was.
Yeah, so that was the clip. That was the end of that one. Now, it goes on a little bit longer, but my man, listen, my man set the record straight. Like, and the good thing I like about it is two things, right? Number one, he came with receipts. You know what I'm saying? You can't just charge somebody up but say the wrong thing and you don't come with receipts. You gotta come with those, okay?
Yes.
That was the first thing. The second thing that he did it so politely. Like, I don't have that in my being, right? In my soul, I don't have that. Like, if I'm passionate about something, or if I'm angry, if I'm angry about something, you're gonna be motherfucker this, motherfucker. It's gonna be a lot of different shit that's being said coming out of my mouth. And even though I may be, I'm giving receipts, I'm spitting facts, I'm going to cuss you day fuck out, like DEY day fuck out. It just, that's what's gonna happen. So shout out to Mr. Chambers, man. He went up there and he like, you up here shopping, and he was doing his finger like this the whole time, like he was talking to you like he was your dad and you was his kid, all that kind of shit. It was beautiful.
I mean, but he had but it takes, to me, as always, what he did was a beautiful thing to see. But why does it take for a person to get to that point? Like, you can hear it in his voice, like the passion he was talking with. Right. That he was like beyond fed up. Like, God, this shit's gone on too goddamn long. And like, why does it always take, especially for a minority, black folks in general, for us to be like that, to where motherfuckers finally hear us? Mm-hmm. And then they'll get to, and that's where they get to co-opt the motherfucker. That's where they, so hold on. Before that's where they get to co-opt the shit and be like, see, he's angry. Because like how you would say, like, man, all these people have been motherfuckers and this, that,
yeah. I'm the angry black dude at that point.
Then you're the angry black dude. It's like, no, why am I this angry? There's a reason why. Why can't we ever get to the root of why I'm at this point where I just don't really give a fuck about you?
Right. And then even still, whenever you do that, whenever you do that, again, they may say the right shit. They may go, oh, okay, well, we hear exactly what you're saying, but again, no action comes from that. Like, I'm too tired of hearing like, oh yeah, we're gonna make this change, and it doesn't fucking happen. Right. Yeah. Like, it's to a point where, okay, whatever's coming out of your mouth, I don't believe shit until I see some shit that I need to be able to see.
And that's where that would go. It harks back on our the point we were doing before this, where we need to go on and consolidate as black people in general. Mm-hmm. We have to consolidate and just form our own shit. Like I said, we're the ones that spend the most in the country, but we have the least amount of wealth. That is an oxymoron. That shouldn't be.
Fucking Cadillacs. And it goes back to fucking that Chappelle skit with the reparations. That shit would be real.
Yes. At this point, and it would still be real at this point. There'll be a few of us that wouldn't just go out and blow that shit. But the vast majority of black folks, they'll go out and blow that shit. Like,
shit.
And get that shit right back. And yes, the economy be right back where it needs to be and all that shit, but you be right back poor.
Right. Exactly. And again, that kind of goes back to the education, right? That kind of goes way back to the education where educating our youth on the right shit. Like I said, like I don't, again, for the life of me, I don't understand why schools are teaching Christopher Columbus. Like, it's a long fucking process, but like I don't get why what they don't do a lot of, and if they do this, you have to spend an absorbent amount of money in order to get your kid to go through this shit, right? But they're not teaching financial literacy. That's not something that they're just going to come out and say. And a lot of times, especially again within the Black community, they don't have the wherewithal to go, okay, this is what this is, son, daughter. This is what, because we were brought up on bullshit too, right? We were brought up on, hey, sing and dance and go play basketball and you're going to be perfectly fine. We weren't taught that.
I said my parents never sat me down and say, hey, this is how you balance a checkbook.
Right, exactly. Mine, I'm not going to say that they didn't. I don't remember the conversation, right? I would have to look as an example, and it's not a knock on them. Is shit. My pops is going to work worrying about not getting his ass shot the fuck off too. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has to go to work and do that shit. And he has to make sure that he's feeding kids and shit like that. So yeah, it's a struggle. You know what I'm saying? So they have to put shit in place in order to do that shit, man. They don't give a fuck.
I mean, no. I mean, why would they? Again, you're asking a group of people who, one, this is not their experience.
Exactly, Mike.
You're asking people who this is not their experience to empathize with it, and then two, from their perspective, they don't really stand to gain anything from us doing better, right? Mm-hmm. If anything, they stand to lose in their minds. They stand to lose something, right? So, I think we have gotten to the point where we got to go it alone, right? Mm-hmm. The only people who are going to care about us is us. And so the people who are going to have to get us out of the situation is us. Yes, it's not fair. It's not right that we've been put in this position. There's no reason why you should do this to people, but it's happening, Right. And so at a certain point, you got to say, you know what? All right, this is where we're at. And if we're going to get out of it, we're going to have to get out of it.
Right.
So there is no working with them to get out of it. I mean, there'll be people who will be sympathetic to the cause. There'll be people who may even help along the way. Yeah, but it's still a long ways to run. They're in terms of allies, as they call them, they're basically the people. If you've ever seen a marathon, who stand on the side with a cup of water. That is where the white allies' position in this whole situation really is. It's gonna have to be.
I still take my cup of water.
You take the cup of water, absolutely. You take the cup of water. So I'm saying, they can help you, but you're doing the work, right? The runner is the one who's running the race, and they're doing all the hard work. But they have some friendly people on the side who will throw them a bone every now and then, give them a cup of water to help keep them going, right?
Right.
But that's as much as they can do. They can't run the race for us.
Right. And honestly, in those kind of situations, I don't even need empathy from them, right? Because to me, it's not a genuine empathy, right? It's not a genuine like, oh damn, like they may care, obviously. Chris Rock said it best, nobody in this building, no white person in America will change places with me, and I'm rich.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of it. They're not going to give up what they have. And honestly, if I was in that circumstance, I wouldn't get a shit up either. So yeah, that goes right to your point. Like shit, give me the cup of water, man. You gotta keep moving though.
Yeah, but that's what we were saying. I mean, it's really that point in time that we got to consolidate, man. As Black people, we have to consolidate. Like you said, when Black folks, especially Black men in this situation, when we do well, everybody else is going to do well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I mean, everything is everything, and it sounds like trickle down shit, but especially with minorities, it's gonna trickle down to you because when we're treated well, everybody's treated well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. True. All right. So real quick, switching gears again. I'll let Jamal. You got something?
No.
Switching gears again. Actually, the biggest question that I have for you guys from the whole fucking night. Did you celebrate Juneteenth? Tell the truth.
As far what's the celebration like? Go
I don't know.
somewhere or just?
Well, I mean, did you just did you just celebrate it? Did you just celebrate it?
Cute, and we were watching a whole bunch of black shit on TV, so I guess that's
all right. Yeah, hey, that's celebration. Jamal, did you celebrate?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, we were just at the house, so we're not hitting them streets, but
right.
But no, we were just at the house, and I read some stuff. My wife cooked, and that was about it. So.
Beautiful. Me personally, I'm thinking about boycotting Independence Day this year.
It's not our Independence Day, so I mean,
right.
Like, why should you be out there? Like, you was 3/5 of a human on July 4th, 1776. So that's not.
Yeah, that's not.
I'll take the day off though.
I'm gonna take that day off of work though. Again, hey, that's the water. That's the water that they bring, right? Yeah. I'm gonna take that fucking day off. But yeah, like and like I went back.
They finally gave us some water on Juneteenth since all these.
Oh, it was beautiful. I was laughing so hard. I was like, "How the fuck?"
I want to see if we still continue to get it off next year. Now that'll be a test, right? Because a lot of these companies did it on kind of impromptu, like mine.
Right.
They didn't decide till Tuesday, right? So I actually had scheduled all kind of meetings and shit on Friday. Right. Had to cancel them happily, but but I do wonder, like, are they going to just go back and?
I'm gonna go with the saying: "Give a nigga an inch, we gonna take a mile."
I want that whole next year. Like I didn't get it off this year. What did you say?
Now,
yeah, like I said, going forward, I need that shit to be every Juneteenth. I don't give a fuck what day it is. Okay, I need it off, or I need something. If not, I'm gonna just take it off at the beginning of the year. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Wednesday, June 19th. I'm taking off.
Why?
It's January 2nd, and you don't have any PTO. Taking it off anyways. You ain't even got to pay me.
I won't be here. Slavery is over.
but nah, that's good shit. That's good shit. I celebrated, but shit, I've been celebrating Juneteenth, and shout out to Facebook memories, right? And so I've been celebrating that shit every year for years. Like I'm talking at least 10 plus years, right? And we used to celebrate it back in the day. Everybody used to come over, your family get together and shit like that. But that shit kind of dissipates. But man, I've been celebrating that shit, and I'm so proud every time.
Yeah, I mean, it's an important holiday. I was actually thinking. I was thinking about this today. I was thinking about doing teaching a class for Black kids on Black history. And when I say Black history, most people are thinking of slavery. They're thinking of the civil rights movement, that whole story, right? But here's the thing: that is not where our story begins, right? And I'm not talking about Africa just in general. I'm talking about the motherfuckers here right now and how they got here and all that. There's a lot more to it about how we got here, how slavery started. And this is it's all out there if you want to look at it. But that story is never told, right? About what was going on before slavery, what prompted them to start the whole slave trade situation, all that kind of stuff, because I think it's important. I think it's important that people understand what their real history is and not just feel like, oh, I'm just a descendant of some like lowly slave or something like that, because that's not the case. That's not the case at all. And the way we got to the position where we're in now, it was a concerted effort, right? And so, that's something I've been thinking about. I don't know how to do it because I'm definitely not going to a school, but it'd be something I'd have to do on on my own somehow.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, at this point, let's say you could start your own, web or something like this, where you get a Zoom or whatever, and you control the narrative. Like I said, it'll just be your thing. And nobody be able to, say, oh, well, your numbers ain't this, or we're gonna cut back on that and shit like that. It'll be what you want, and you'll disseminate it to the masses.
Yeah. So But I mean, I think we have to do a lot in a lot of different avenues. And again, I'm hopeful, man. I'm hopeful. I see people moving in that direction. I hope they can keep that same energy and expand on it.
Right.
Because like I was just thinking a lot of things today. I was thinking, all right, there's no black shoe companies, right?
Big baller brand.
Yeah, maybe we find another one, but regardless,
never lost.
As
never
much
lost.
shoes as we buy, and we really drive shoe culture in this country, right?
We drive culture.
Yeah, culture in general. So if that's the case, why don't we have any black shoe brands like that are owned, operated by black companies? Because clearly we know what good shoes look like, right?
Right.
So we know what they feel like. We know everything about them, right? And so why don't we need that, right? And I'm sure there's some young person out there who's a designer or whatever, and this is the time to put it out there. Design your own shit, because if we could only keep, I learned a stat today. It was actually about Black Wall Street. It said if in that period of time in the black community, the dollar circulated an average of 6,000 times before it left the community. Now that stat is down to 6 hours, right? So that means, and the reason for that is because obviously they had segregation, so you couldn't use their stuff, so you had to stay in the community. And because of that, that's why we have that stat of they had more black businesses then than now, right? Because there was no white business to go to without catching hell. Right. So, they had all their own shit, own grocery stores, own banks, own clothing, own everything, because you had to if you wanted it. If you wanted it, you had to build it.
You wasn't going to Starbucks, you was going to coffee, nigga.
Yeah. So if we can we certainly probably not going to get back to 6,000 times, but that should be the stat. Just like, the government, the Federal Reserve measure the economy by GDP, right? And all those stats that they use, unemployment, all that. We should be measuring it by the amount of times that our dollars circulate in our own community, amongst our own businesses. And the more that number goes up, the better off we're going to be.
For the layman, what's GDP?
That's gross domestic product. So that's everything that is bought and sold in the country in a given year. So that's how they judge the growth of the economy, right? If more stuff was bought and sold this year than last year, then the economy grew by whatever that difference is.
See, and that's the shit that they need to be teaching kids in school too.
Yeah.
Again,
and boom, we just dropped some knowledge on you too.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of school, so this is something that is somewhat of a hot topic.
Ooh, that's a nice segue, all right?
That was just.
You see how I worked that in there. That's why they pay me the big bucks. But nevertheless, so there's something that is somewhat of a hot topic. I haven't, as a parent, I haven't really given it much thought because I don't think I can be swayed, right? And so with me not giving it much thought and not being able to be swayed, a lot of school districts, they're starting to do this, right? They're starting to kind of release schedules and go, hey, this is the schedule for next year. This is how we're going to handle precautions. This is how we're going to do this. This is how we're going to do that. I'm 100%. No, let me rephrase that. I'm 1,000%, million, trillion, billion, whatever % certain that I'm probably never going to send my kid back to school ever again. Okay. Until there's like a true blue, like everything is taken care of, everything is done. There's, like COVID, there's vaccine, there, whatever the case may be, right? But I'm almost certain I'm not going to do that. But I'm also not 100% certain if that's the right thing to do. If that makes sense.
I mean, I would say this, and obviously we got a little time here before we really got to make a decision, but
right.
But I would say as you get closer to it, that's when you make the decision. But also, how are they going to handle this, right? Because right now, the reason this topic came up is because here in Texas, they said this week, at least in Dallas, was it just Dallas? I don't know.
Oh, GISD did some shit today too,
but but they were saying that they had planned to open the school year up, no precautions, no masks, no anything, no testing.
See, that's fucking shit.
And I think that is irresponsible. Like at the very least, test everybody at the very beginning. That way you start with a clean slate. You start with, okay, because we're looking at it with like the NFL, right? Or NBA, like, and these are healthy motherfuckers. Like they're coming in and you're seeing large amounts of them have it, right? And they're testing for it right there. So if you had allowed them to come in and just hang with everybody else, that shit would have spread immediately, right? So like LSU had 30 players test positive for COVID. Right?
30 fucking players?
30 fucking players. And only like 90 something on the team, right? So
yeah, Clemson had 23.
Yeah, so that's a third of your team. So, if you had, brought them all in and they all, huddling up and doing their thing, that's going to spread within 2 days, probably. For the rest of the team, as close as you got to be, and football, it's real close contact. So
you're on top of each other.
Yeah. So, we don't know enough about this COVID. I think people have become complacent because it's going on for so long, and people are just tired of the whole thing. And I totally get that, but they're complacent in that we don't totally understand what it is yet, right? Is there a longer term effect to it? There's been all kind of talk about it affecting organs and different things. Right. Kids don't seem to be affected right now. Does it incubate and do some weird shit later?
Yeah, does it more mutate into something different?
Yeah, right. Like your kid can get chickenpox right now, and he might not have any symptoms until a couple years from now. Like,
well, they got rid of chickenpox though. They got rid of chickenpox.
Well, yeah, but my point is
that's some bullshit. Remember when we used to have to get chickenpox?
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah, they got rid of it. Like I didn't think about that shit until I think like PJ was like 7 or 8. I was like, wait a minute, this motherfucker ain't never had chickenpox, and I forgot he got vaccinated in the beginning, which you think that's the right thing, which I think it is. Again, I'm uncertain. I don't know yet.
Yeah,
it's always Larry with that shit.
Yeah,
yeah, but and to me, like kids are the nastiest motherfuckers on the planet, right?
Well, here's what I'm saying, because so in epidemiology they talk about things called super spreader events, right?
This nigga.
What? Nigga. The real word is epidemic. Niggas can't figure that
out. We're just giving you hell, man. Don't take it too hard.
Yeah.
We're just giving you hell.
But they call them super spreader events, right? This is why they don't want people going to football games and shit like that. Because it spreads so easy that if you have a large, it's like the cruise ship thing, right?
Oh, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Where you got all 2,000 people on the boat got the shit. So
it's a wrap.
Now the thing for
shout out to the Trump rally.
Yeah, I fear more for the teachers, right? At least from what we know right now today. Now, like I was saying, there's a lot of unknown. We don't know how it's going to affect kids long term. Right. But right now, today, it doesn't seem like it does them too bad, right? So just taking that information we have right now, then I'm more concerned about the teachers, because we know kids can spread some shit real fast, right?
Easily. It doesn't take long.
Easily, right? They're sneezing, they're touching everything, they're just gross. So, but you have a lot of teachers who are on the older side, who are, they're fucking adults, so they live life. They got health issues, you know what I'm saying? So,
but if anything has showed you, we don't in America, we don't give a shit about the teachers.
Oh no, absolutely not. So, but I fear for them, because if you have within the first few weeks of school, if anybody in there has it, then all the kids probably have it at that point. And the teachers got to sit up there every day and deal with these kids. And then, of course, these kids are going to bring that shit home. So, like, this is like the nail in the fucking coffin. And it's not even like I said, I hope that it is what it looks like and it doesn't really affect kids too bad. But the problem is,
I'm not willing to take that risk, man.
Yeah, because it's an unknown, right?
Yeah,
it's one of them things where right now you don't think so, and then later on you find out, oh, actually,
yeah. Like I can get the shit all day, right? I ain't tripping about me getting the shit selfishly. But nah, if that shit, pop on my kid, dog, it's a wrap, dog.
Yeah. So.
Then I'm not willing to risk it, like in no way, shape, form, or fashion. Like virtual. I mean, if I got to do the homeschooling thing, fuck it. We homeschooling, and we gonna learn some shit together, because it's a lot of shit I done forgot. Goddamn it.
Yeah, I mean, but that is true. That's true. I mean, how can they just, to me, just with that blanket statement, especially in Dallas, where it's like, yeah, school year is going to just open up normal and stuff like, you're not even pretending to give a damn.
Right.
At least pretend to give a damn.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
And I'm going to tell you, this is a big, I mean, I assume this stance that they have right now is going to change because this is a huge liability thing. Like if somebody's kid goes in there and something, the worst happens that I don't even want to say, the whole, like, I don't even know how much they would get sued for, right? Or teachers say, like, because we're talking about this immediately. If you're a teacher, you have no chance, right? Of not catching it. You got zero chance. And so, like I said, there's lots of older teachers, lots of teachers with all kinds of little issues, right? Health issues already. And we know if you already have a health issue, this is going to make it worse. So, you know, you could have multiple teachers die.
And then the substitute teachers. Shout out to Miss McEntee, the greatest substitute teacher.
You ain't going to find no substitute teachers at that point.
None. It's a wrap.
You think when they call you as a substitute and they're like, oh, yeah, we want you to come in, and you're going to be like, what school? You mean the one with it? So I'm substituting for, nah, I'm good.
yeah, exactly. Also they call in sick. Nah, I'm straight. I'm straight. Oh yeah, no, it was just a little cough. Yeah.
I mean, I'd be a substitute calling in sick.
Yeah, and this is shout out to Nick saying this. What about the parents that can't afford to homeschool their kids because they have to go to work?
Well, so Robinson School of Education will commence. We don't whoop kids. However, we also ain't teaching them normal curriculum. They will learn how to read, write, and they also will learn how to cuss motherfuckers out, and they will know financial literacy at an early age.
Yeah. So, I mean, and, you know, I think we talked earlier about.
That is a real thing, though. All jokes aside. The one that can't afford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's very real. I mean, because some people just aren't going to be able to work from home. Like, I know my sister, she has 2 kids, and she feels the same way as you. And thankfully, she can work from home as well as her husband. They weren't before, but now they can. And so, but there are a lot of people who can't. Like, what if you're a teacher? We just talked about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to actually go in.
You're the one that got to go with these little motherfuckers.
Yeah. So
you're essential as fuck.
You know, even if you wanted to do some kind of virtual thing, like, you know, I don't know how because they were talking about, well, if kids didn't want to go, there'll be a virtual option for them. But okay, well, would you want the teacher to teach 2 classes? Because they got to teach the live class and then the virtual class. That's not going to
work. So that, to me, if that's going to happen, you should double their pay. Since they're doing double the work.
It should have been double paid a long time ago.
Oh, like I just said earlier, America obviously doesn't give a fuck about the teacher.
Right. But no, I mean, it just, and honestly, I don't think they need to rush into this decision, right? They don't need to, you know, and I actually received a phone call from someone and they were just like, hey, did you get the information on, you know, this ISD doing this ISD doing that? And I'm like, no. But it's something like, again, I get it. They want school to start in August. There's no rush to this shit, right? Like, understand what we're dealing with. We're not dealing with some normal circumstances. So if it takes you to December to figure out, to get all your resources in place, then fucking get the resources and shit in place. If you're talking about defunding the goddamn police department, take that money, put it to the education system, which they should have been fucking doing anyway, and get the resources that you need to where you can have virtual classes for people that need virtual classes.
But when you say defund the police, they think you're talking about disband the police in general.
Fuck them.
This is my thing about when you say that we're at that point in time now. It's especially with social media. You can't highlight the subtleties. Everybody just takes it at face value. Everybody just reads the highlight, the bold print, and nobody ever reads the fucking story at this point. So it's always that shit where, like you said, when we say defund the police, we're not talking. Police needs to be out there. We all can agree on that. There got to be some where there's a check and balance part to people going out and shit like that. Everybody can't just be free willy-nilly. I get that shit. Fuck the police. Yes, yes. But I'm just saying there has to be some type of authority figure. But there still has to be. To me, there's no reason why a fucking police department should be making, have a revenue of like $3 billion, and a motherfucking, the ISD, the city's ISD is only what, a third of that. Not even a third, maybe even a quarter of that shit. Like that shit doesn't fucking make any sense. It's like you're actually making the problem worse when you're giving more, you're giving the police more power and more shit because you're not actually solving the fucking problem. If these people would be educated, then they wouldn't go out and do some of these things because they got actually something to lose.
Right.
When motherfuckers ain't got shit to lose, and yeah, you're gonna get some hectic shit.
Yeah, fuck them. Take their money away and let the 600 police officers that wanted to quit in fucking New York, wherever the fuck.
Man,
yeah, fuck
them niggas
like,
some bitches.
Quit then. But yeah, nevertheless, going back to the school and home thing. But again, put that money where you don't have to do this shit in fact, don't do this shit in August, right? Because let's just be honest here. Kids been out of school since March. Yeah. So shit, they already done had their fucking summer break if you really want to be for real about it. You know what I'm saying?
Spring break, summer break.
That was it. My son went on spring break and that motherfucker ain't been back since. And they still get free lunches every Thursday, which I gotta go get some this Thursday. You don't eat them motherfuckers. Though. They had like some chicken gumbo shit, and it wasn't chicken gumbo. I don't know what the fuck it was. I'm like, dude, let me explain.
Beef stroganoff.
Yeah, it comes in this little container, and it's just the cutest container. It comes and it's just, like it's shit. It's pure shit, and I don't feel bad about the mere fact that I do not pay that motherfucking lunch bill because it's like fuck you. This I feed the kid. I'm not paying that shit.
I've never understood school lunch. Like it is the worst of the worst. Like adults would not even eat that shit. So why would you feed that to kids? But
it's just the worst. Again, Mr. Robinson, you have a negative $40. I'll pay it next week.
I can get back to you. Yeah, I'll put a little bit on it.
Yeah, I ain't paying your shit. I'll send that motherfucker a pizza at school through Uber Eats before I let that motherfucker eat that shit. But yeah, nevertheless, but people again, it's just a lot of different things going on with that, and like I said, it doesn't make sense to open school back up. It makes zero sense whatsoever.
But because we're seeing it in just regular society right now with the spikes. Like you just let people just go out for a little bit, and you see now we're over 5,000 cases a day in fucking Texas and some shit like that. It's like,
right?
No, we do not have this shit handled.
And that's not even the motherfuckers that went out and protest. We ain't even counted them numbers yet. Them numbers ain't came in. You know what I'm saying? Like them numbers ain't came in yet. So it's wrapped, dog. It's done.
Yeah. So it's just a bad plan. But I think it's much like the NBA, which I still don't think they're gonna have a season. But I think because it's been the same doesn't matter what the organization is. It's been the same reaction to this COVID thing the whole time. Where at first they'll come out and be like, "Nah, we're just gonna have the whatever," and then they'll start as they get closer to the actual date. They start realizing, okay, we can't actually do this,
right?
And I think that's what's going to happen with the NBA, and I think that's what's going to happen with this school situation because a lot of parents are going to be saying what you're saying, right? And it's not going to be all of them. Some of them they're just going to have to because they don't have nowhere to put them, right? So they're just going to have to do it. But there's a lot of people who can work from home now, like way more than they could before this whole thing. And they're just going to be like, I'm not sending them to school. And a lot of people's employers are going to be okay with that, So
they have to be.
They have to be. But see, this is America, right? Stranger things have happened. Yes, they should be okay, businesses, and go, hey, look, okay, these people can't do this, these people can't do that. They have to be okay with it, but they're not. They're really not. There's going to be some dumbass company out there that's going to say, you know what? No, you got to come back or else.
guarantee you won't, because it not that dumbass company has a lawyer. Because here's the thing: negligence is when you knew that this could have happened, right? Now, if something happens, yeah. If you come to my house and you slipped on the stairs, okay, that's an accident. Now, if you come to my house and I know that the stairs are wet and I don't say anything, I don't have no sign, I don't have nothing, and you slip, that's negligence, because I knew that was wet. I knew if somebody came in, they could slip on that, right?
We took the necessary precautions.
And so they're going to be saying, and so the case would be, okay, well, what did your competitors do? And if your competitors were still closed out of precaution and you opened up, you're fucked. You're fucked, and they're going to do whatever it is they ask.
We took the necessary precautions, and this shit going to drag out longer than the 9/11 smoke victims and shit. This shit going to drag and drag and drag and drag, period. We took the necessary precautions. We had these sanitizing stations. We also sent out daily emails reminding everybody to do this. We also did this. We also did that. Okay, so, some people call it COVID-19. Are we really liable for it? The short answer to that question is fuck yeah, you are. Long answer, ain't gonna happen.
I mean, so at what point do y'all think that as a nation we'll just be like, fuck it, come take me?
The purge, it's happening.
I mean, because how long can all this go on, right? How long can kids not be in school? How long can businesses be like kind of open? How long can all of that shit survive?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to reach a breaking point.
Yeah, before people are just like, you know what, we're just gonna have to deal with it. Like, if we get it, we get it.
Well, we're kind of at that point. I mean,
because I'll say this with the breaking plans that numbers are showing that for the most part you're gonna recover from this. This is not like, it's not that you get COVID and you're gonna die. Because I had a partner that got it and they're fine. Like, I kicked it with one the other week. It's like, yeah, he had it in late March, but he's good now. So it's not a death sentence, but there's gonna come a point where it's just, you're just gonna be like, hey, shit, fuck it. We're just gonna have to be out in these streets.
Right.
Well, but again, like I said, we're kind of at that point right now, because the reality is, the restaurants are opening back up and shit like that, like 50% capacity, whatever, however you want to classify it. But again, it is something that's happening now where people are just truly like, fuck it. If we're gonna get it, we're gonna get it. Like you said, Simon, the numbers don't make it seem, or the numbers are, yeah, obviously this is something new. We don't have a vaccine for it, but the numbers are more than likely so you're going to survive unless you have certain conditions, right? And even people with those certain conditions can survive off of it. They share stories every day. This lady was 60 years old and, she had some respiratory problems earlier, but she still survived off of it. And, all the time.
Like that old white lady up in Boston that they've been faming that was drinking a beer after she recovered from COVID. It's like, like you can bounce back from it. It's not it's not a death, but it's spreading and you can't control it. That's the whole thing. Right. That's anybody with logical sense. That's the whole thing. It's like, nigga, if I don't have to get this, I don't want to get it.
Right. And then they even came out with some old shit like asymptomatic people, they're not really spreading the disease like people really think they are. I mean,
it's spreading somehow.
It's going somehow,
So, but that's the weird thing about the situation. There's so much bad information, and bad information coming from places that are supposed to be credible, which is really fucking people right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's why it's a hoax shit is still alive, because people that are supposed to be like experts at this shit are getting the shit wrong. And it's like, see, now that just gives the conspiracy theorists, oh, see, I told you this shit is all bullshit. They just trying to do this for this and that for that. And it's like, man, you're gonna get shit wrong. That happens in life.
Right.
It is what it is. This shit is novice to everybody. Nobody's seen this shit before. So yeah, at the beginning you're gonna get shit wrong.
Right. Exactly. Sports.
Oh, can I mention one thing before we go to sports?
Sure.
Go ahead.
That's why I want to start trying to do this at the end of the serious part of our conversation is give people a little something to take away, like a little opportunity, because the whole time we've been talking about this, we've been saying, all right, this time is, it's not a good time necessarily, but in bad times, there's a lot of opportunity. Just like there's a lot of bad shit, there's a lot of opportunities. So if you're a teacher or you're somebody who knows some shit enough to be a teacher, start thinking about setting up virtual tutoring, right? There's going to be a lot of LPs out there who aren't comfortable sending their kids into the belly of the beast,
right?
Who also may need some assistance in teaching them some stuff, right? So if you set up a virtual, you can do a live stream. Class starts at 10 a.m. The kids can come in, and the live stream part of it will be free, right? You live stream it. Kids can ask questions in the comments or whatever if they need to, and then if anybody needs extra help, that's where you charge for your tutoring services, right? And you can do one-on-one, Zoom meetings, whatever,
Absolutely.
with kids. And so that is what people who have that skill set need to be starting to look at and build it out now, because when school year comes around and we see the cases are going up, people are going to get more nervous about this. Not to mention that the second wave is supposed to hit in the fall, right? And the second wave of a virus, I'm hoping it doesn't happen, but the second wave of a virus is typically more deadly than the first.
They have a name for it.
Right. So get ready if you have that skill set, and that's my advice to you. Start setting something like that up, because that is a good way for you to make some money.
Absolutely.
And also help people.
Absolutely. Well, that's a good job right there, Jamal. What a way to look out for the people.
There you go.
Look at this fucking guy over here. All right, so sports. We can keep this one. We're 1 hour 16 minutes into this whole thing, so we can keep this one
good.
Yeah. Should MLB just came out right before we jumped on, right? NBA season is starting on July 31st with a little provisions. NFL season isn't going anywhere. It's still the same as originally planned for, even though they're starting to come out with people with COVID and shit like that. MLB just came back and said they're going back to camp July 1st, 60-game season. Is it necessary for us to have sports?
Is it necessary? I mean, it's obviously not necessary.
It's not necessary. I don't think it's necessary. It's a want by a lot of people, because sure. I'll start this one off, because we use sports as a therapeutic kind of moment. I mean, for the most part, I'll take from my household, it's one of those times where you kind of get to forget about. I'm not saying you get to push back all the problems of the week.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about
And you kind of just get wrapped up in something that kind of takes your mind, because every human needs to decompress.
Right.
That's a fact. So it gives you a point to wherever you can decompress and just kind of enjoy things, just to enjoy it, just on the pure beauty of what basically the game is, and you just have that fun for that a lot of time that the game is on. So, like I said, do we need it? No, but I think it is a need, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
in a way, because you got to have a release, and that this pandemic has shown that a lot of people don't have that release. That release was, they got to see their favorite baseball team play, or they got to see their favorite, so they can kind of let that rage or that fury or that joy or whatever it is out as something that doesn't directly affect them.
Right.
I mean, it's a distraction, right? That's what it is.
It is.
So
it is.
But it's not to necessarily say it's a bad thing, because there's lots of distractions we have, right? There's people drink, they smoke, they do all kinds of stuff to just take the edge off at the end of the day, right? And just relax a little bit and not necessarily think about all the shit you got going on. So
absolutely.
So it's definitely something that could be used, and especially in a time where there's not a lot else to do, right? You can't necessarily, or it's not necessarily, even if you're somebody who likes going out and going to a bar or something, the bars ain't really packed. Like, it's not fun. It's not as fun as it would have been in the past. So you can't go to the movies. You can go to a restaurant, but it's going to be a weird experience. You'd probably rather just eat at home. Even if you get the food from outside, you'd probably just rather bring it home. So it's not a ton. Was you going to go to the bowling alley? Like, there's not a ton of shit to do. So that would be an outlet. Because I know, like, especially like Mondays, you go through a long day of work, whatever happened. It's nice to come home and be like, oh, shit, man, Saints playing the fucking 49ers tonight. Okay. We gonna see something, and you get a little excited about it and you stop thinking about your bullshit for a second.
Mm-hmm.
So I think from a psychological standpoint, the country probably does need it. The country probably does need it. I don't know if they're gonna get it though.
I don't necessarily think, because this was already the weird time frame, right? With the exception, the NBA would have been going on right now pretty strong. The NBA finals would be pretty much done at this point, I think. Yeah, June 22nd, it would have been pretty much done. But this is that weird spot where you don't really have sports, and you got baseball and shit like that. But niggas ain't watching baseball until like September, October. If you watch baseball, right?
Days of summer.
Right. And so we're already in that time period. At the same time, as for me, it's you know how sometimes whenever you find something more constructive to do, and whether it's more constructive in a good way or more constructive in a bad way, what I found without sports, without having that, it's Monday Night Football, the Raiders are playing the Chargers today, I'm just like, what? Well, I can do this or I can do that. I sent you guys a text message earlier. I was like, I can watch this movie, or I can play this video game, or I can just take this 15-minute nap. You know what I'm saying? And or some days it's I can decide to make this business move or put money this way, invest in it. So to me, it's just like I need more of that, more of like non-sports, to where I won't get distracted by some shit and I can just stay focused on things. But I just don't think, I don't see the point. 13 NBA teams, 13 Western Conference teams, 9 Eastern Conference teams, NFL season. I don't think the NFL is happening at all, just because it's just too much going on. And side note, Colin Kaepernick is going to get signed a week before they say the NFL season is not happening. Good job, buddy. But I don't think NFL is happening at all, because they rely too much on the fans. And you don't want to hear that shit on the field with no fans in the stadium. And
there's ways around that. And
there are ways around
it. And how you're saying that actually watching football at your house is kind of a little bit better than watching it live.
Yeah,
and I said, I'm talking about this is what I'm saying with this is, as far as you can go to a game and it's going to a football game is a great experience. But if you don't know what the hell you're watching, you're just watching stuff. You're just watching people run around on the field. You don't really know what the hell's going on, which most football fans are.
Okay.
But when you're at the house and you hear commentating, you hear Romo, you hear Joe Buck, and they explain something to you. Why did this dude do this? Why did this dude do that? Then you kind of get it. And it's like, and then you're more engaged with the game.
Yeah.
Than actually just sitting there and then just like, you don't know what play is that? And, I didn't even see, and you're just lost, and you're just kind of just watching the game.
And that does make sense, but I'm spoiled in the fact that I'm a live sports watcher. Like, the shit don't look the same on the TV no more. But I mean, obviously, I'm not going to go to every fucking game or anything. But it's something about being there live,
man. Especially depending on where you're watching the game. Because my best sports memory is in the Superdome. Like, that place is a fucking.
I was rocking, right?
That place is a fucking clown house, man. And I'm talking about from before the game to after the game, especially if they win. I mean, it just turns into basically a club after that.
Exactly.
But that will be missed.
Yeah,
that will be missed.
Absolutely. There's gonna be a lot of weird shit, like how fucked up it'll be. Like, if Drew Brees got to finish his career, with no fans in the stands.
Vince Carter did Drew Brees.
Hey man, look, we've healed. Okay, we've come together as a team.
This was a galvanizing moment.
Oh yeah. Get your water, Jamal. Get your water, Jamal.
But I mean, it'll be weird just in general. Like, think about the fact how big home field advantage is in football. Like,
absolutely.
It affects the snap count. It affects everything. And so that home field advantage just goes away. Like, you might as well not even play at the stadium. You might as well play at the practice facility, except for Cincinnati because they don't have one. But I said except for Cincinnati because they don't have one. But
they don't.
No,
nigga.
Shout out.
So that's what we've been saying.
Yeah.
Me and Jamal have been on this boat themselves all the time.
No, them boys out. They're doing walkthroughs in the parking lot.
To 6 for the team to start buying, like the actual Cincinnati team, to start buying the players jock straps.
You want to know how bad it is? So every NFL team, if you've ever seen like one of the things where they take you inside the facility, whatever a player needs is just grabbable. If you need a Gatorade, there's a fridge full of Gatorades. If you need some water, there's a fridge full of water. If you need a meal, you can go in the kitchen over there. They'll cook you up something right then. Cincinnati has vending machines.
They got vending machine for pads.
If you want a Gatorade, you're going to buy a Gatorade.
Pay.
It's ridiculous. They need to take that team. But
Joe Burrow's going to change it. He's going to get his water while he's running.
Even Donald Sterling thinks he's cute, man. Donald Sterling is appalled. Like, it's ridiculous.
Donald Sterling was at least written the building. Y'all pay for that shit.
They used to have. That was the thing. Like, and I'm talking about as like late as 2005, 2006. Usha Manzada talked about this shit on Colin Cowherd's show. He's like, dog.
That's where I found out about the vending machine thing.
Yeah, the big money, the first rounders, they were the ones that had to go buy jock straps for the team because they had all the money. They had that big check, so they would go drop out for the team.
That's so fucking.
And they would go hurt, like you said with the Gatorade. They would hurt that shit. If they could get some in a bulk, the players would just take that shit because them niggas, they knew they had to pay for it.
Anywho,
they got catching up in that locker room making lemonade and shit. Like, I'm gonna just mix me up some.
What Marvin Lewis is working with, and him to keep them niggas at least serviceable, nigga, that shit is beyond.
No, man, this is why I was trying to release racist shit about Joe Burrow, man. I was trying to get him to drop in the draft. I was like, man, no, don't do it. Don't do it to my boy. Don't do it to my boy. Anywhere other than the Falcons, but anywhere other than the goddamn Bengals. But that's where he's at, man. He's gonna have to make do.
But the Bengals have they one of their things is too. They don't trade their draft picks.
You ain't getting out.
Not. When have you heard a big trade with the Cincinnati Bengals?
They don't trade them, and they generally try to re-sign them. If you don't re-sign, they're gonna franchise you.
Did they sign Boomer Esiason?
So Burrow got at least 7 years there because he gonna have to play his 5. Then he's gonna have to get franchised.
No, they'll give him money just on the mere fact he's from Ohio.
Well, they'll give him money, but I'm talking about if he wants to get out. If he's like, I need to leave.
Oh yeah, but Carson Palmer showed the way out, and he just retired on that.
Yeah,
that's old by then. Shit,
that's if they don't own your rights and shit.
Yeah,
but it still got him about that shit, and then I just won't play.
All right, here we go. The wrap up, gentlemen. So, lasting impressions. Who wants to go first?
Lasting impressions of what?
Of what? Yeah.
Lasting impressions of today. So it can either be it can be a long Jamal rant, it can be something real short, or it can be something kind of medium in between. You know what I'm saying? What's your wrap up?
You go.
Go ahead. Okay. Go.
No, you go.
Okay.
Just for the record, hey, people that listening, I'm just springing them on. They had no idea we were doing this, so yeah.
I mean, this is an overall take. I mean, I think we try to use our voice. I think this podcast in general, we're trying to use our voice in any way we can, because obviously we don't feel comfortable enough to go out and protest. We ain't young like that, and I ain't trying to get the COVID.
No, them cats too wild for me.
Yeah, but this is the thing. I'm trying to at least, say something and put my name behind something that, hey man, at least I'm trying to get my voice out there to the masses. As far as like, especially with black folks, man, we need to consolidate up, arm yourselves, and be ready for this shit. Because like the more and more we see about this shit, the more and more we're repeating the same shit, because the establishment is they're the establishment. We have to disrupt that shit. This country was built on civil unrest. So don't get scared when these motherfuckers be like, oh my God, I can't believe y'all are doing it. Man, fuck that shit. You think the Boston Tea Party was a motherfucking Kumbaya song? No, these niggas was wrecking shit. Like, man, get the fuck out of here with this bullshit. Cause we always, when it's our shit, we always gotta be, oh, y'all should be forgetting that shit and shit like that. But when I say fuck them bars and stars, man, fuck. But no, we supposed to remember the South. Bitch, that was for 5 years and y'all lost. Get the fuck out of my face with that bullshit.
That bullshit. All right, Jamal, your wrap up.
Well, I would just say, keep the pressure on. Because what they really want is they really want us to vent, get your shit out, protest, do your thing, and then shut the fuck up and let's go back to doing what we do. So if we want to make any progress, we're going to have to keep it. And we also have to stop caring about what white people think about it, right? Because they're never going to be on some of them will be allies, but for the most part, as a whole, they're never going to be on our side, because for them, our gain is their loss in their mind. It's not really that way, but that's how they think about it. So, and they control everything, right? So if they really didn't want it to be this way, it wouldn't be this way. Right? Because we don't write no laws. We don't own no companies. We don't own none of that shit. We don't own no TV stations, no radio stations, no magazines, no newspapers, right? So
they control the narrative.
Exactly. So at that point, we can't be worried about what the narrative is. We just have to do us. And we have to stick together both economically and politically and hold their feet to the fire, because they're not going to listen until we make them listen. So
there you go. And my wrap up is NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace. I wish you well, brother.
That's it.
Is he a cup guy? Is he a cup guy on the side?
No, he ain't a cup guy. He ain't a cup guy on the side at all.
It's
just that. That's old buddy with the news hanging in his garage.
I hope they didn't plant that themselves, because that'll kill the whole thing.
Bubba Wallace, it's up to you, buddy. Like I
hope he didn't juicy smoothie that shit.
Nigga, yeah, you said you hit the nail on the fucking head, because this is not the time for that light skin shit. This is not the time for that shit. Anyway, episode 146.
146.
Straight Meddlin Show. We still in this bitch.
Yeah, they ain't gonna shut us up. I know it's been every other week or some shit like that, but we still here.
Oh yeah, they ain't shutting us up no time soon. I pay good money for this shit. Anyways, so Straight Meddlin Show 146, man. This is your boy ALP Raw.
The other one's got it.
Jamal, aka Green Mile, aka Aristotle with bravado.
Do you have another name?
That's another one.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah, Karate got it.
That nigga do got that Elmer. You look like Elmer Fudd on fucking Space Jam. What you got?
Outside of being, I'm not white. But,
well, you know, your head to say it was weird. It was